Movie Review by Rob.
Well, hey guys, it has been a very long time since I did a review.
When was your last one?
The last review, I think it was Devil and Frozen and all.
And Buried.
And Buried, all in the same review thing with Anthony.
I still didn't get to see that.
Buried?
It was out on Mills too. I never wanted to drive out there.
Well, I apologize, it's been so long. I know last time I used the excuse of the basement was flooded, but then the basement flooded again.
Yes.
And then the computer went up, and then blah, 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 blah. You don't want to hear it. So here I am, back with a review, and I figured this would be one of the first ones that people would be really interested in this year, because comedies are always, people are looking for new comedies to see. And being that The Hangover was kind of the growing, quiet comedy of last year.
Yes.
It grew by I think nobody really thought it was going to be that funny, and then
Everybody saw it.
it was huge. And it was, same director,
Todd Phillips.
Todd Phillips, same director as Old School.
And Road Trip.
And Road Trip. And this, of course, we were talking about is Due Date.
Of course.
Starring Zach Galifianakis.
And Robert Downey Jr.
And Robert Downey Jr. They're the oddball pairing, I guess, in the classical road trip sense. The plot of the film is that basically Robert Downey Jr. needs to get from, where does it start off in? Atlanta, Georgia. And he needs to get all the way to Los Angeles, or Hollywood, as Zach Galifianakis' character will call it. What was it? It's Alex Tremblay, or?
It was something Tremblay.
Well, he needs to get there within
Peter
like 4 days, and he's put on a no-fly list, which you've seen by the preview because of certain
kind of funny.
Yeah, events. It was very anger management reminiscent to me. But basically, he has to get there, and the only conceivable route, since he lost his wallet and all and can't fly, is to go with this character that Zach plays and drive across country. And of course, Zach, they threw in this little dog named Sonny for comedic laughter. You might already be able to tell by the way I'm presenting this movie and my tone how I actually felt about it. Now, I mean, I'm a fan of the buddy road trip movies.
Yeah.
But watching this entire thing, both he and I at the very end went Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
It was the same movie.
It was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, just with Robert Downey Jr. playing the Steve Martin character and
Zach Galifianakis is John Candy.
Playing John Candy. And if you haven't seen that, I would say check that movie out. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
if you've never seen that,
find it right now. It's John Hughes.
Go.
It's classic. He wrote this. And I don't know how it turned into Planes, Trains, and Automobile review, but he wrote that movie, I think, in a weekend, because he was having himself a hard time getting home during Thanksgiving, and he wrote that movie. And that movie's brilliant, it balances a character that's straight edge more with a character that's kind of the comedian, kind of like comic relief, but it also throws a good amount of sentiment in there, and while keeping the humor and the pacing going.
It balances it really well. This movie does not balance.
Yeah, Due Date, on the other hand, Robert Downey Jr.'s character is a real jerk. And I mean, that works at points, but then he becomes nice, and then he goes back to being a jerk, and he's too much of one extreme and then the other without a clear sense of how he got there. So, although Zach Galifianakis, his character, I just want to call him Zach. Saying his last name over and over, it sounds fake. Seeing Zach's character throughout the movie, he's got little, like, I don't know, nuances and stuff, like character traits that I think they thought would be funny, and if they like kept them repetitive, like his like soft nature and his, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself, but being totally serious when he says it.
Right.
It falls a little flat the first couple times, and then they just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And it still falls flat.
Well, another thing is, if you've seen the trailer, you've pretty much seen everything that's funny in the movie.
It's one of those movies, which kind of sucks.
There's probably 2 or 3 things that were in the trailer that were kind of amusing.
And there was certain parts that started breaching on the area of vulgarity, vulgar humor, kind of like Road Trip and all.
Yeah.
But then it would just tone it back, and it would be sentimental, funny. The movie just didn't want to feel itself. And I went into this with somebody telling me that it was funnier than The Hangover, or just as funny. And I did not. That was probably a mistake. Don't go into it thinking it's going to be The Hangover.
Don't even compare it to The Hangover, just because it's the same director.
Compare it to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and be disappointed still.
Yes.
It's got funny, humorous parts, and I don't give any the acting is straight across the board well done. Robert Downey Jr. can still act, and Zach can still act very well. And there's like Juliette Lewis makes an appearance in it.
Character is very similar to Hangover, though.
Kind of, except a little bit more feminine. I want to say with his perm and his.
Well, I mean, I like him on Bored to Death because it's a different character than
I have
he
not
is.
watched Bored to Death, so I'll have to check that out. But there are some like Juliette Lewis.
She was pretty funny. Danny McBride.
Danny McBride makes an appearance in it.
Jamie Foxx, of course.
Yep, Jamie Foxx with 2 X's.
2 X's.
And there's some funny. There's a little bit of action to the comedy. You know, some things get haywire and they bust out of it and stuff. They go to Mexico.
I guess
at
I
one point.
can't talk about that because it'd be spoiling stuff. But it's.
Yeah.
The car chase annoyed me.
Yeah. Well, I was saying there's action and there's over the topness, but overall as a comedy, I maybe laughed out loud twice, and it was more so killed by people around me laughing out loud because people were laughing at every single thing. And maybe you're one of my viewers that actually laughs out loud at everything. But I think as far as comedy standards, I hold comedy pretty high. Not saying that my comedy or my brand of comedy, because I laugh at really stupid things sometimes, random humor. Yeah. This just felt very formula. Like everything that was going to happen was nothing surprised me.
You knew it was going to happen the entire movie.
Yeah. So out of 5, I give this movie, I want to say a 2 out of 5. I will never watch it again. It was entertaining while I watched it, but the entire time I was comparing it to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles or any other buddy, team up road trip movie.
2.5 out of 5. Yeah.
2.5 out of 5.
Another thing I noticed in the theater is like when it would start to switch to be like sentimental, people in the theaters would still laugh. Yeah. And they shouldn't have been.
It didn't know how to balance sentiment, and it would get really awkward in certain parts, and then they just didn't fully flesh out some storylines, and it just felt too long in general. I think it was almost 2 hours long.
At least an hour and 50, and it feels like it's that long.
Yeah. As far as comedies, like I said,
is there any good ones out right now?
No, it's been kind of dry lately. I haven't. Hello, Lex. If that little ringing noise is Lex. You know Lex from past reviews and stuff. But as far as movies lately, there have been some good movies. I haven't kept up on a lot of reviews. If I get a chance, I'll do a catch-up review session. But like I said, a lot's been going on. I wanted to touch base with you guys. I just got my computer back last night, so I want to get this up for you guys. And just to let you know, I'm still around. I'm still around.
I apparently am not.
You're around every now and then.
Boxing.
But it'll probably be just mostly reviews from myself and Sean Hillary occasionally joining me.
Yeah.
So.
Deal with it.
Till next time.